Next Level Promotions and Sequence Records presents August 5th, 2017, Oakland, California, the 10th Annual West Coast Hip Hop Awards Convention, hosted this year by DJ King Assassin, Mr. Fab, and the Game Changer, Havoc the Mouthpiece. For more info, contact Octavius Miller at yahoo.com.
Check us out, this is your boy DJ King Assassin right here. You're live and direct, man, on GhettoFlameTV, man. You know, we do it all the way from Linwood to the Yay area and back. You know what I mean? Keep it on lock right here with my main man, Sean, GhettoFlameTV. You already know how we do it. Pursue it and ride for the Wild West Side, California. Hey, DJ King Assassin.
West Coast rise, we the West Coast riders. If you looking for trouble, we the providers. Check it out. See, I was put here.
What's happening, boy?
Yeah, man, I've been wanting to get on this show for a minute.
Man, it's an honor, Shawnee Sean, because you've always been down with Shawnee Sean and the GhettoFlameTV, you know what I mean? So,
yes,
man,
sir.
Now we finally connect game and get to let the world know, man, what's going on, you dig?
That's right, that's right. Now, first I want to start talking about, you know, some of the things that some people might not know, you know what I mean? So I'm going to start off with, where did your name come from?
Man, my name is a trip because I'm glad you answered that. I used to, you know, DJ battles before, you know, as far as a young kid growing up, being a disc jockey. I used to go by the name of Scratch Terminator, so I would enter car shows. You know how car shows are out here in California. They would always have like a DJ battle there. So I would go battle the DJs, and one day my friend went with me just to see me battle all these DJs, and they called me up to the stage to go DJ, so I was DJing and said, next up we got Scratch Terminator, because that's the name that I went by, because I was always into like Public Enemy and stuff like that, and I like the Terminator, you know what I mean? So I call myself the Scratch Terminator, so, you know what I mean? They call me Scratch Terminator. Then my boy said, hey man, you're just your own guy in your own right, man, you know what I mean? Why don't you, I love Scratch Terminator, but you assassinated them turntables. That's what he told me. And my friend Shay, his name was Shay, man, Shay Williams.
Okay.
Big shout out to Shay Williams. He actually named me Assassin, man, and he said, you should be called DJ Assassin. I said, you know what, I like that, but let me put the King in front of there. So that's how I became DJ King Assassin, you know what I mean? So that's a true story. That's how I got my name.
And that stuck with you for, when was that, when you started using it?
Man, when I was a youngster, probably like 16, 17 years old. You know, I'm 45 now, born 1971, so do the math. Right on. I stopped counting after I hit 40. You know?
All right. So you grew up in Oakland, huh?
That's right, in the Bay Area. You know, Oakland, Frisco, San Ho, East Palo Alto, Vallejo. I lived in all the surrounding areas in the early part of my life, and later moved to LA, which my family was originally from, you know what I mean, Los Angeles. And, you know, I kind of been a part of both worlds. I think that's what really makes me, man, because I got my Bay Area swag, got my LA swag, you know what I mean? Combine it all together, it's a threat, you know what I mean?
That's right.
You know, I grew up in the best of both worlds, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's where I'm originally from, is the Yay area. That's how I got my game, and then I moved out here to LA and got my game from over here too. So, you know, it's always been an LA Bay Area thing with me.
Okay. So did you always know that you was, you know, going to be this DJ, this legend DJ? Did you know this was gonna happen?
Well, I knew I was better than the rest of the DJs a lot of the time, because nobody really had the fast scratching skills that I had. So I knew that part I would be known as far as, you know, within the area, within the hood or wherever I was at, but I never thought it was gonna be, you know, to where it got worldwide. And you know, when the internet came, I kind of grabbed a hold of it too, and people got to see me, got to know me through the internet too, by doing tricks and scratching and all that stuff. So I never thought that I would get super huge, you know, through DJing. So
how did you actually, you know, start did you seen somebody doing it and you said, I want to do that? Or, you know what I mean? How did it even come into your mind to say, this is what I want to do?
I think the Sugar Hill Gang. I think that's what really got me into the music in the first place, was to love the records, you know, because I had to go, once I heard it, you know, on the radio, I said, man, how can I get this, you know? So I would go to the record shops to find it. Of course, that's the only way to get music. You know, I loved it so much that I had to have it, and in order to have it, I said, how do I get it? Record shops. Okay, so I went and got a record, and then, you know, that's what the DJs had to play records. So I said, man, this is cool. I'm gonna go buy me some more records. I started building up my collection. I said, man, I need more than one turntable. I need 2 of these, because now I start seeing people DJing, and I would go to my friend's house, DJ Amasan. He would be scratching with these records and pulling back to back, and I was just a kid then, and I said, man, immediately then I knew, you know, what I wanted to do, and that was to be a DJ before anything. And then I got later into the production and started making beats.
Right.
You know, then I started rapping too behind breaks and all that stuff. So that's how everything just kind of like flourished from being a DJ, man. And that's how I actually got started. It's a trip that you say that, because, you know, I couldn't afford turntables in the beginning. You know what I mean? I couldn't. So what I did was, my mom would have a record player, right? It'd be a record player that had an 8-track built in, and also had a stereo system built into it. So what I did was I took the record player out of the big 8-track system. I took it out, and she had 2 of them. One was a completely different system, but it was still built in with an 8-track and a radio system. And I took that one out of the system. So I had 2 turntables that were out of the system. And then I built a cardboard box out of each one, and they looked completely the same, but they were completely 2 different systems, and they looked the same. And that's how I had my 2 turntables. And I went to Radio Shack. You know, one loved the Radio Shack. I know they stopped all the Radio Shacks out there, but damn, I'm upset about that. But at the same time, you know, I can't even buy no more plugs when I need a plug. Where's Radio Shack? Where you at, Radio Shack? I guess I gotta go to RadioShack.com now for that. But to make a long story short, you know what I mean? I got the 2 turntables. I had my own 2 turntables built out of cardboard boxes that went to Radio Shack, got me a little Radio Shack mixer, and that's where it all started, right there. Without no headphone cueing or nothing, I had to push the record from this record to go on time for the beat, because there was no pitch control on that. So what I would have to do was speed the record up with my hand to get it on beat.
All right.
Mix it, you know what I mean? And mix like that.
Old school.
That's how I learned, man.
Old school tactics, huh?
Old school tactics.
Yeah,
and I have friends that were mixing too, and I kind of probably skipped that part, but I had 2 cassette tapes too, you know what I mean? I would use cassette players and put them together side by side and do pause mixing, and I had one recording it, and I would just pause one and play the other one. Then after, I would just use sometimes just one cassette player and do pause mixing. A lot of you cats out there know what I'm talking about. You know, you're recording something on a cassette tape, and then you pause it at that part, then go for the next song and find it and unrelease that pause button where it's recorded. So when you play it back, you know, everything is all chopped and edited.
Right. Yeah, man. Like all the stuff that these you know, young guys be doing now, man. They don't even know.
They don't even know about
how hard it was, you know.
Right.
But yeah. So I want to talk about you know, a little bit about Tupac.
Right.
So you know, how did you? Because I seen the you know, the interview on TMZ with you.
Right.
And so I didn't know that you actually knew him that long. You know what I mean?
Right,
so can you talk about a little bit, like how did you actually meet him, and what age and all that kind of?
Man, I say I was probably about like 17, 18 years old when I met Pac. You know what I mean?
And he was younger or older than?
He was the same age as me.
Okay.
So we were about 17, 18, maybe even 16, because when I came around him, he was working on music and doing his thing, but it was more of a situation. When you live in the Bay Area, and you live at that time, when I was living in the Bay Area, you'd run into him. You know, it's just like how if you live in LA, you're gonna run into Sean Ghetto Flame. You know what I mean? That's just, you know, especially if you live in the same city, same area. That's how me and Pac actually connected. But of course, we didn't do music like right there and then. It was a friendship with me and Pac, and it wasn't on until later when I would see him at Gavin conventions. You know what I mean? With Digital Underground, I knew him when he was dancing for Digital. I knew him when he didn't even have a deal. You know what I mean? So Pac was always just a true friend of mine. You know what I mean? So people always say, "How is it?" I'm like, man, he was my friend before he was even famous. So
definitely,
I didn't really like trip off him like most people trip off him, because he was a friend first. So it was like I couldn't believe it at first. After a while, it hits you, especially when they're gone. You know what I mean? Like, damn, how much influence he had. You know, because I never knew Pac was going to be famous like how he was. I knew he was going to be famous through the movies and all that, but I never knew he would be like the biggest icon we've ever seen in life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's one thing I miss about Pac is he was so real with everything that he said. It came from the heart. You know, he wasn't afraid to talk about his mom, what his mom was going through. He wasn't afraid to talk about the issues that a lot of people don't want to talk about. You know, we're talking about all Black Lives Matter now, and he was talking about that stuff way back in the days. He was talking about police brutality. He was a victim of police brutality in Oakland, California. So, you know, I was around all that, you know, back in the days. And, of course, when he started working and, you know, he had the deals, he never forgot about me, you know what I mean? And that's what I love about Pac, because he was a good person, you know what I mean? Me and Mo Preem, his brother, we'd be in the studio, you know, throughout the whole Me Against the World album. I was there, you know, in conjunction with a lot of other producers working on stuff, you know what I mean? And I would do scratching on his records. He would drop verses. We did Real Bad Boys. I was part of Dear Mama as far as the hook being concerned, because I did some scratching, but of course we had to take that out. You probably read that on Billboard.
Okay.
Where Yo-Yo was actually on the hook. And it wouldn't be a damn thing without a woman. That was on the chorus. And we had scratched another one, Got Me a Down, that's Mama on my team. And it wouldn't be a damn thing without a woman. That was a hook that was actually in Dear Mama, and that was the hook that, you know, we liked. And then the next day, Pac comes in the studio and he says, "Hey, Assassin, you know what? We can't use that sample." I'm like, damn, it's all good if y'all didn't like the scratch or whatever. Just take it out. You know what I mean? He's like, no, we can't use it at all.
Wow.
I go, why? You know, and that was all his idea, putting that part in there from Yo-Yo.
Oh, Pac?
So yeah, that was his idea. And you know, he comes to me the next day and says we can't use it. He was like kind of upset, so I knew he wasn't lying about that, to tell you know, any kind of thing. He said, I said, why, Pac? What happened? He said, this lady named Pat Charnay wouldn't clear the song. She wouldn't clear that part of the, you know, of Yo-Yo's voice, because back then you still have to get, you know, clearance in order to use it. So we had to take that out. And of course we weren't mad at Yo-Yo or Ice Cube, you know what I mean? Because Yo-Yo was cool with Pac. Cube was cool with Pac, so we just didn't understand why that wouldn't be clear, but we understand that it's a business thing, so we're not trying to be sued, and we're on Interscope Records, you know what I mean? We gotta, you know, keep Tom Wally happy over there, you know what I mean? We would have Tom Wally come in the cowboy suit and the cowboy boots. We wanted to keep him happy. We wanted to keep the cowboy happy over there. One love to Tom Wally, we love you, boy. You know what I mean? Because he let us do anything we wanted to. There was always artistic freedom with Interscope and Tom Wally. He was the type of dude that come inside the studio and just, you know, love what we were doing. And he was the one that believed in Tupac and signed him and got his deal initially, you know, through Atron Gregory, TNT Records, you know, which was Tupac's manager at the time. Good old Atron Gregory. And, you know, one love to Layla Steinberg, who, you know, actually connected that whole Digital Underground situation, you know, to meet Atron and everybody. So, you know what I mean? It's been a long road, you know, of course now since then, but to tell the stories and to actually go with the whole flow as far as Machiavelli, how it came into that later on in life, it was a long road for Tupac. It wasn't easy, you know what I mean? People think it like he was just this overnight type of success. No, it was far from that. Pac been doing it for a long time, and he didn't get his success really until, you know, the end really of his life, because people didn't really take him that serious until he started doing the movies and started, you know, right after Me Against the World. The true fans, they were always fans, a lot of them. You know, they were fans since Strictly For My Niggas or Tupacalypse Now, you know what I mean? So it was a long road for Tupac. He went through a lot, man, in his life, you know what I mean? It wasn't easy. Just like I said, it ain't easy. That was real shit, because, you know, he was catching different slack from different people. You know, the media portrayed him a different way, and he was a very knowledgeable person, you know what I mean? Very knowledgeable. A lot of people didn't know he read a lot of books. He knew, growing up as a Black Panther baby, being born into basically the Black Panthers, you know what I mean?
So he was kind of doing that kind of stuff and talking about that kind of stuff,
no
like
doubt.
when you met him, or when you were, you know, kicking it with him back then?
Exactly, because he was born into that, you know, so he talked about, you know, power to the people all the time, you know what I mean? He loved Public Enemy, he loved Ice Cube. His favorite rapper was rapping Forte, you know what I mean? Shout out to rapping Forte.
So did you ever have a conversation with him, or did he ever tell you, man, you know, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this, you know what I mean?
That's the type of person he was always talking about what he was gonna do.
Okay.
And people love that. I think that's why people were attracted to be around him when he went somewhere. There was, you know, always a group, a circle of people around him, because Pac's the type of dude, he loves telling you what he's gonna do.
Right,
so
right.
he was always talking about the movies he was gonna do. He had scripts written himself, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna talk about all that in the movie Machiavelli, you know, and I'm gonna go real deep into depth of his concepts, what he brought to the table, and how he used to be as a person, you know.
Right.
And,
that's another thing I wanted to talk about. You know, without you know, giving nothing away, I wanted to you know, I didn't know if you was doing a doc or a movie, like what
recreation.
Yeah, what is it actually about? And you know,
it's actually a doc. It's a doc, just like you said. You know what I mean? It's more about the people that knew Tupac and Tupac's family, because a lot of people really don't know who Tupac's real family, immediate family is. He has a lot of cousins. He has a lot of close friends that knew him, that were silent into getting him to the person he was. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned the Atrium Gregories, the Layla Steinbergs, you know, the DJ Dizzies, the 5150s, the Strictly Dopes. You know, these were groups that he was part of before he even blew up. So we have all these guys that are coming to the table to give you stories like the stories I could give you of mine when I was in the studio with him. So that's basically what the movie's about, is all these cats that worked with him, and also all the different conspiracy theories that you actually hear about Tupac. We're covering, you know, slightly that part too, but most of it is just the goodness that Tupac brought to the table, what made Tupac and the people around him that made him, because he didn't make himself just by him being himself. It was the people surrounded by him that made him too, you know what I mean? And it ranges from just like growing up in New York, growing up in Baltimore, growing up in the Bay Area, Oakland, California, growing up in LA, because he was out here in LA, you know, the last part of his life's where he got a lot of his game from too. So Pac was a type of dude, and he would tell you even in interviews, you know what I mean? He listened to KRS-One, he listened to Public Enemy, he listened to Rakim, and he'll even tell you, man, I mastered all these motherfucking style. I got all this style, you know what I mean? I just did it and got it, and now I could do it better than they can. You know what I mean? That's how Pac was, and he did, man. And I'm not saying this to diss any artists out there, of whoever, you know, he dissected from. That's an honor for him, you know, for them artists, you know what I mean, to dissect that and be known that, hey, Tupac is a part of me, Tupac is a part of you, you know what I mean? So that's basically what he was saying when he was doing it in interviews, you know what I mean? So that's how he did it, man. He dissected different rappers and put his own style together. See, that's what a lot of kids don't understand. They just hear a Tupac and be like, I want to be like Pac, I want to be like Pac. Well, if you want to be like Pac, you got to know Pac's way of thinking, how he was thinking, you know what I mean? And that's how he was thinking. Whoever dope he thought he was mastering their styles, and not just one person. And then he combined it all together like a pot of gumbo, you know what I mean? And came with his own style.
That's right.
So that's how he did it, man. And that's how some of the most, you know, incrediblest people out there are, you know what I mean? They love, you know, if it's a painter and I'm looking at Michelangelo, they're looking at, you know, another painter, you know, you look there, you get their styles. You don't buy them, but you basically know what they're doing and master what they are.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of like it's hip hop. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's producing records, man. People don't know. Hip hop comes from breaks. You know what I mean? That's how you got the break dances. Me and Ice-T were talking about that. You know what I mean? That a lot of kids, they just don't know where hip hop comes from. Hip hop comes from old school R&B, right? You know, because there'll be an R&B record that probably your mom and dad used to dance to, but the part that always intrigued us was the instrumental part of it. When there wasn't no singing or no, you know, people talking, we would get the part of that record, which is called a break. A break is a place in the record that only has the instrumental part. So what we do as DJs, we would get the breaks on records and go back to back, which included, you know, the scratching and going back to back and playing that part over and over, which later became the essence of breakdancing, because the breakdancing was only danced to that break on a record, then came in the MCing, rapping over that. And that's how you hear the birth of hip hop right there.
All right. So now I want to talk about a little bit about musically. You know what I mean? What's going on with you right now? Producing, you know, projects.
Yeah, producing. You know, Machiavelli is the movie that I'm directing right now, so that's in full-fledged right now. We're getting that done. And also, we're getting done the single, which is already completed. It's going to hit the Guinness Book of World Records as being the longest hip-hop song in hip-hop history. It includes Ice-T, South Central Cartel, Code 187 from Brother Law, Cocaine, The Outlaws, Edie's on there. Man, so many greats. OG Red Rum's on there.
Wow.
Man, we got a lot of greats on there, man. You know what I mean? So.
And that's about to drop, or is it?
That's done. It's about to drop right now. I'm just waiting on, you know, getting the proper mix from that, you know what I mean, in the studio, and then we're gonna drop it as a single. Coming up within the next 30, 60 days from now. So, you know, you'll hear it first on GhettoFlameTV right here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where you're supposed to keep it on lock all the time, on lock like a pit bull, baby.
Yeah.
We them West Coast riders. We them West Coast riders. If you looking for trouble, we the providers. Check it out. See, I was put here to ride on this earth since birth. Been trying to figure out what life is really worth. The curse is simple. Been conditioned to live in sinful. Trying to do right, but that ain't paying the rent though. And I ain't even living to exceed my basic need. Bitches and money, a little weed, a peace of mind. Sometimes harder to find. I continue to grind.